Professor Godfrey Bokwin with us. Dr. Ishmeal Hlover is on. I'll come to him shortly on the points that you've made. In fact, let me bring him in on that point. And I'll come to the economic question. Which of these countries should we then be laying the red carpet for? Because remember, this is happening in the context of an economic crisis, the biggest in our generation. And so right now, we need money. We need food. Accommodating. That's all we need. We need somebody to forgive our debt. But if the man who is holding a bigger chunk of your debt is China, and if you really look at the numbers as I showed you, the U.S. together with the Paris Club of 22 countries, 1.9 billion, China alone 1.7 billion. Maybe, sure, we're putting a call to Xi Jinping to visit also. I'll come and ask that question. Then we'll go to the other things. But let me bring Dr. Hlover into the conversation. Doc, you've watched what has been playing out in the last few days with Kamala. Are we overstating the importance of this relationship with the United States? Are we overstating it? Or is there a real basis to really roll out the red carpet when they turn up? If you drill down to the benefits we get, is this an overstated relationship?
Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. I would not say that it's an overstated relationship. It is a relationship that is still significant to our development and our quest to move out of the economic difficulties we find ourselves. If you look at the US and look at the global economic structures, particularly within the IMF, where you are looking to get some relief from, the US still has a very significant role within the IMF setup to play. Therefore, your largest creditor, as it were, is China. The US still remains a very important friend to Ghana, and therefore any top-level visit to Ghana should be treated as such. Apart from getting us to get maybe an IMF deal, there are other economic aspects of this kind of visit. For instance, the international media that is covering this event gives visibility to our country. As she is gone to the castle, there's still the media presence that broadcasts that area, and therefore it is very important to our tourism industry. And also, when you look at the terrain in West Africa over the last few years, the terrorist activities within the sub-region, you will still need a lot of U.S. presence and support in order to deal with some of the challenges we are facing, both by sea and by land. Remember, Ghana is a coastal state, and then along the Gulf of Guinea, where we have most of our oil installation in the sea, piracy and other sea-bound activities are also challenges to us. And the U.S. have been instrumental in trying to equip, in trying to support training for many security forces. So yes, apart from this current issue of trying to get an IMF deal, the U.S. still remains an important friend to Ghana, but that doesn't mean that we should overly lean to the side of the U.S. We need all the other players, like the Chinese, for instance, to come on board. Of course, if you look at China in Africa, they have strategically over the years invested in key sectors, so that if you look at the data, the U.S. is a distance. I think if you take a country, it's a distance that when it comes to trade with Africa. So you have the EU as a collective bloc, then you have the Chinese, then you have the US, and then you can talk about the others. So now that they are trying to re-engage, it is important we keep this engagement as such. Remember, Ghana is a democracy, and therefore, naturally, the US will find it quite comfortable to come here. And they have an interest. When you are dealing with a region that recently is having problems with democracies going back, and then you have one that looks a little bit stable, then you have to find a way to reassure them that the path they have chosen is good, and therefore you are always there to give them the needed support. So I think that in both ends, there's some interest that is at play. And it is not a relationship that we will say that it's overstated. Of course, we are interested in the Chinese. Of course, the foreign minister was there last week trying to negotiate with them. These negotiations have to go side by side. We don't need to downplay one side because of the other. That is the crucial thing that we have to look out for now, not to fall into the geopolitical trap where you assume that one side is more beneficial to me, so you link to that side.